Hi there, Prematricalants. Welcome to Educate. In this video, we'll be doing the biodiversity of microorganisms. We've got question 6 here that says the diagram below shows two microorganisms. So in this diagram, you've got two microorganisms. You are not given their names, so you need to kind of look at the structure properly so that you can be able to identify each and every one of them. So here, by the look of things, before we get to the questions, you can see that diagram 1, it shows a bacterium, okay? Basically, diagram 1 is a bacterium, and in plural, you say it's bacteria, but basically, if it's one, you say it's a bacterium, and it has got certain labels. Then we have got also diagram 2. Diagram 2 here, you can see that it looks like a virus. Definitely, you might have seen something like this in TV, representing the COVID-19 and the what. So basically, this is a virus. So both of these are microbes, or they are microorganisms. So we need to be able to answer the following questions based on them, starting with 6.1 here, which says identify microorganism in diagram 1. In this case, diagram 1, you can see that it is showing a bacterium as we've already identified it. So this is bacteria in plural. It's bacteria, and if it's one, you say it's bacterium. So we now go to 6.2. So now 6.2 now says write the letter and the name. Please guys, when you need to also read the instructions before you even start answering the questions. It does not help for you to answer the questions and still get wrong answers and then fail and then come to us and you'll be like, how bad, I learned this from Educate. No, you read the instruction, then you answer it. Now they say write the letter and the name. The letter is 1 mark, the name is 1 mark. So if you're just going to write the letter only or the name only, that's going to be a blunder, and that's going to be probably your fault, definitely your fault. Okay, so now write the letter and the name of a part that carries genetic material. So this actually compels us for us to kind of make labels for each and every part there. And you can see that here D is part of a bacterium. It looks like a tail-like structure here. It is known as our flagellum. So I just started with a D. This is our flagellum. If we look at part C, you can see that is showing the part inside a bacterium. So this is the part inside the bacterium. This part, although not so clear from this, let me just try to zoom in even more. Although not so clear, but this is the nucleoid. This is the genetic material of a bacterium. Remember that the genetic material of a bacterium are not found inside a nucleus. They are found inside a nucleoid. So we just call it a nucleoid. It's a false nucleus. Okay, so we are going to say that a part B, in that case, it is showing or part C, I mean, it is showing the what? It is showing the nucleoid. We say it's known as the nucleoid. Please don't mistake it for a nucleolus or anything else. And then now they say, what is the label for part B as well? When you look at part B, I don't know if you can see properly there, but that's a plasmid inside the bacterium. So probably when they give you in a question paper, you'll be able to see clearly there. But let me just highlight it so that you can see it, because Mina, I've got brighter eyes. I'm still young. Probably younger than you, joking. So basically, if you look at this region, basically this region here is showing some plasmids. This is a plasmid. This is a plasmid here. So basically, this plasmid, remember, it is the one that also contain it also contains genetic material as well. So this is known as the plasmid. Then A, it is the boundary. So the boundary here, we've got 3 boundaries around a bacterium. We've got a slime layer, we've got a cell membrane, and a cell wall. But here, I don't think you'll be able to identify clearly. And then if you look at F, inside a virus, when you look at F, it is remember that F, it is this part here, and you can see that it is this part that is enclosing the DNA. Remember that this coiled structure, or this coat-like structure, that is it encloses genetic material in a virus, and it is known as the capsid. It's made up of proteins, is known as the capsid. And then now when you look at E, you can see that it is kind of covering the entire virus here. It is kind of covering the entire virus. We say it is known as the envelope of the virus. So after completing these labels, we can now write the letter and the name of the part that carries the genetic material. Now they say the letter and the name of the part that carries genetic material. Please look at these terms. This is carries, is not encloses, it carries. So basically, in a virus, we don't really talk about a part that carries genetic material. No, we only talk about a part that encloses genetic material in a virus. So we have to look at the bacterium. So in a bacterium, we know that the genetic material, the DNA and the RNA of a bacterium, it is found inside the nucleoid, or it is carried inside the nucleoid. So in this case, they say write the letter and the name. So in this case, the nucleoid, you can see that it is the part C. So that's the first thing I'm going to write. It is C. So the part is C because it's the letter, right? And then the name of this part, it is a nucleoid. So I'm now going to say this is a nucleoid. So the nucleoid of a bacterium is just an irregularly shaped structure that carries the genetic material. It does not enclose it, it carries it. Okay, so in a bacterium, a nucleoid carries the genetic material, and they say write the letter and the name. So you're gonna receive marks for the letter and the name, hence it is 2 marks here. When I go ahead and write the name only or write the letter only, usidonsela amanzi ngomsele in that way, if you know what does that mean in Zulu. But basically just know that whenever they say write a letter and the name, you deserve 2 marks if you write letter and name. Don't just write nucleoid. Okay, then now when we look at B, 6.2b, 6.2b now says a part that encloses. Look at the keyword now. It's a part now that encloses genetic material of diagram 2. Now they were more specific that you need to go and look at diagram number 2. Diagram number 2, we've already identified that it is representing the virus, right? So basically, in a virus, we know of a part that encloses genetic material. That part, it is made up of proteins. It's otherwise known as a protein coat. So the protein coat, it is known as a capsid. That's the proper name, or no, that's the proper term that we use to refer to it. So you can now see the difference, right? In a bacterium, we say that it's a part that carries genetic material. It's a nucleoid. But in a virus, we talk of a part that encloses or that covers the genetic material of a virus. And in this case, that's going to be our part F there. And I'm going to say this is part F and give it a name, the capsid. So this is our capsid. So that's going to be 1 mark for the letter, 1 mark for the name. Then now we go to 6.3. 6.3 now says, state the type of fertilization that takes place in diagram 1. So here when they say type of fertilization, I'd rather prefer them to say type of reproduction. Okay, but basically still kind of implies the same thing to an extent. So basically now we have to look at diagram 1. Diagram 1, remember that we say that is showing a diagram of a bacterium. So what is the type of fertilization that occurs inside the bacterium, or how does bacterium reproduce? Remember that the method in which a bacterium reproduces is known as binary fission. So binary fission is the method, or it is the name of the fertilization, or the name of the reproduction. What happens in binary fission? Remember, one cell divides to form 2. That's why we say it's known as a fission. So it's binary fission. Simply means that one cell divides into 2. I'm sure binary means 2. Bi means 2, right? And then fission means separate. So basically, it means that one cell, it actually splits, or it separates into 2. That's why it's known as binary fission. So the result of this will actually give us 2 cells. So it actually divides to multiply. This is known as binary fission. So one cell divides into 2. And then the same happens. These 2 cells will also divide into 2 more. There will be 4 in total. Okay, so that's how bacteria actually reproduce. It's known as binary fission. When they say explain binary fission, you have to say one bacterium cell divides into 2 bacterium cells. Yes, simply that. So one is dividing into 2. So it's actually dividing so that it can multiply. I don't know if the maths makes sense there. So describe the 2 ways in which the diagram 2 differs from living cells. Look at the diagram 2. Remember that diagram 2 is the diagram of a virus. We say that a virus is not a living organism because it differs from the other cells. What is the difference between a normal cell and a virus? Remember that a virus, basically, it is a virus. It's a non-living because its cell cannot respirate. That's the first thing. The cell cannot respirate. Remember that when we say that a cell is respirating, it simply means that a cell, it is actually producing energy. Cellular respiration simply means that a cell, it is producing energy. Okay, so the cell cannot respirate. Oh, the English. The cell cannot respirate. So the cell here, it cannot respirate to be able to produce energy. That's the first thing. So that's the first difference. So viruses are not able to respirate because viruses, they do not have a mitochondria. All right, they do not have a mitochondria. Okay, they say two ways here. So you can talk about something else. You can talk about the viruses that they cannot excrete any waste. Remember that a normal cell, it has to excrete carbon dioxide as the waste, right? But a virus, since it's not a normal cell, it does not excrete. It cannot excrete. So the virus cell, it's not really a cell, by the way, but basically the virus does not or cannot, or it does not excrete any waste. Excrete, we usually call the waste metabolic waste. Is known as metabolic waste. So basically, virus, they are not able to excrete waste. They are not also able to respirate. So the virus cannot respirate to produce energy because it does not have mitochondria. All right, and also the virus cannot excrete metabolic waste. The virus does not do any normal processes a cell must do. Okay, a normal cell must be able to go through certain processes, such as even mitosis. The virus does not go through mitosis. So a virus is not actually considered a living cell, hence is considered different. All right. And then that will actually make it more like a non-living organism. So thank you so much for watching this video, a wonderful premature. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Tell your friends to also stay tuned.